What up, everyone? DJ Anubis.
And DJ Necco.
With you with the Metal Time Radio Podcast. We're going to talk a little bit about movies this time.
So it's not metal.
Not necessarily.
It's not metal.
It's
movies. I know, I don't have any. I'm plain black tea. I think that's like the standard. Like when we go to concerts and stuff, it's like plain black tea and camo or band shirt and camo. So I'm just like plain black tea today.
Yeah, so anyway, I've been spending a lot of time browsing some of the other YouTube personalities and checking out their stuff and their content. So watched a little bit of Aaron from Cult of Cinema. He's been a bad boy and introduced me to all these websites with some rare DVDs and out of print DVDs.
Dude, you have been purchasing stuff and it's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's not like we're yet. It's not like I'm going to be putting the kibosh on it.
I still have like 3 more coming from other locations, but I do have a nice healthy stock of stuff that we got. But the first one I want to talk about, because on one of Aaron's sites, he had this isn't a new DVD for me, but I've had it, but I thought you might get a kick out of this if he ever sees this video. But one of the DVDs that's been like, I guess, remastered or put to Blu-ray is a 1969 movie called Candy. Now, I remember seeing this film early 80s as a teen. And, you know, it's one of those kind of like very sexual movies where, like, as a teen, you think everything is good for jerk off material. I'm going to use Tony the Dead's like version of that stuff. But funny thing about this movie is in the early 90s, I saw a DVD of it. And I said, oh, yeah, I remember this movie. I just don't remember much about it, except for like 2 scenes, which I'll get to in a minute.
That's funny.
But for Aaron's sake and for those that are interested, this is the movie. It's called Candy.
Candy.
And it's about a young woman played by who is her name? Eva. No. I got it written down somewhere. Ewa Ulin. Olin. I don't know.
Aulin? I don't know.
Aulin.
Uh-huh.
She's apparently this girl who I don't know. The movie itself is really kind of crazy, but she drops down from outer space, I guess, and I don't know, ends up with a family somehow.
Like Superman?
No, but she's a girl who's supposedly looking for her sexual discovery, I guess. And
aren't we all?
Right. And but the movie is so great. And at the time, I didn't know all the big names are in it because you're talking about 1969 or so. I'm not thinking of everyone who's in it. So check this out. You got Marlon Brando, James Coburn, Walter Matthau, and Ringo Starr.
That's crazy. How did Ringo get in this?
Well, apparently the movie was happening at the time when they were doing a lot of these psychedelic movies and the yellow submarine thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm guessing there's a connection there with that. This movie, though, for the modern age, would really enrage a lot of people because... Oh,
I've never seen it, so I don't know.
Well, we're going to revisit it sometime because I don't remember much about it except for 2 scenes, and both of them...
You used the Good Housekeeping.
No, not necessarily. The reason why is because both scenes are rapey.
Oh.
And so it's not in a violent kind of way, but in one scene early on, you have a guy in a limo who's with her, and he's so drunk that he's trying to hit on her and he get it on with her, but he's so drunk he passes out. So it doesn't happen. Same thing kind of happens shortly after. When they bring him inside the house where he lives, and the gardener, who's played by Ringo Starr, helps her. Now, the guy is so drunk, he starts humping a mannequin. And this somehow turns on Ringo Starr's character, who's the gardener. He starts trying to rape her, the other girl. And so it doesn't happen there either because something happens and interrupts him or whatever. He's too clumsy, and I can't remember. It's been a long time since I've seen this.
So we'll be able to revisit it. And
oh yeah.
What I find interesting, though, and we're not going to get too crazy and political, but we always talk about like how the difference in eras. Like this is the late 60s, and if anybody else out there has seen Mad Men, there was a scene where like Joan's husband, the doctor, he basically rapes her, and I was like kind of shocked, but then like Mad Men is from the 2000s. However, they're portraying it from the 60s. And I'm almost like, and you see like the sexism and stuff that they really amp up in the show. But I almost feel like a lot of this is mainstream or accepted. Maybe not mainstream as in they put it all out there, but like nobody's going to question what's going on. So to see it then, it probably wasn't such a big deal because
Well,
they're
that's
like,
what I was sort of getting at, is that you have to keep it in context of the times that it was made.
Mhm.
Plus, again, sometimes we put way too much stock into movies and fictional characters and all this anyway. Like, you can watch a million movies and it's still just a fictional piece of work. They might have subtle things nodding off to political
Mhm.
politics or social
Yeah.
issues. But in the end, it's still just a movie. And I think I'm not endorsing that any of the guys in the movie, that the way they behave with women is the way a guy should treat a woman. But the reality is, this is supposed
But
to
it
be,
is fiction.
this is supposed to be a satire, and it kind of mocks the whole pornographic times and everything else with it. So, but just because of I actually own this, I just was hidden with my naughty VHSs.
They're somewhere back, in
Yeah.
storage still.
So I thought it was kind of funny because when I saw it the other night on the website, it had nice new artwork and it was a Blu-ray, and I'm like, well, I got the original of that shit.
We do need to resurrect some of. I know we still have some VHSs in storage, and we have some upstairs. I plan on getting that VHS to digital converter mainly for home movies and stuff that are all on VHS. But who says that we can't do that? So we could have like our own little hard drive of our VHSs that never made it to DVD and enjoy them.
Right. Now, the next 4 movies we're going to get to are all DVDs that I've got from Scream Factory, which is a very good website to go to.
Is
Shout
that
Factory.
Shout Factory is where Aaron showed you?
Yeah, it's another. Well,
it's an Aaron website.
Actually, I kind of knew about Shout Factory because that's where I got my Brother the Wolf.
That's where you
update,
got
so.
and the it was a special edition.
So 2 of the movies in this 4. One for certain, the first one I'm going to get to for certain, but maybe the last one, I believe my babysitter took me to at the drive-in way back when in the 70s, because I try to think of times when my mom went with me, but I think my mom took me more to like stuff like Airplane, the comedies and stuff, or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Star Wars. But I think my babysitter is the one that kind of took me to Jaws, all these creature features. And one of the creature features that I really enjoyed was Orca. I haven't had this on VHS or DVD, so I was very happy to get this.
To find it?
Yeah. The movie stars are Richard Harris, Charlotte Rampling, Bo Derek's in it.
Oh, wow.
She was a big thing back then. Director was Michael Anderson. And basically your premise is Harris plays this fisherman who is always on for the big game hunt. So he's naturally starting off by hunting sharks, great whites, and when he realizes that a great white's like blown up out of the water by an orca, he's like fascinated. So he's like, I gotta get me one.
So this is kind of like a reimagination of Moby Dick?
Yes, it is a lot like that. The whale, of course, what happens is
instead of a white whale, it's a white and black whale.
So Harris, while trying to get the male who's leading the pack, misses the pod or whatever, kills the mother and her unborn calf. And so this enrages the male, and he goes on this for the rest of the movie.
I don't know if I can watch this.
This is sort of the point I'm getting to about this. Whereas Jaws, tentacles, or piranha, they all were these creature features.
But they're bad. Like they just come up and they want to eat people.
Right. Orca has a whole different feel about it. Not just for the orca itself, but even for Harris's character, because he goes through this transformation throughout this entire movie, realizing that he fucked up. But he can't escape it because it's the whale is determined to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've never seen this.
We'll be watching it at some point too. But one of the things that always stuck with me, and we say this about like the movie Ben, is like this the music part. So there's a ending song for Orca that's very it's supposed to be sort of like kind of happy but then sad at the same time. So it gives you these mixed emotions about everything. And then of course one of them dies, so that's the thing that's really adds to the whole aura of the movie itself. So Certainly worthy pickup. This one isn't one of those collector's editions, but it's definitely one that I'm glad to have in my stable of stuff. Next up, we actually just did this, and this went up on our podcast for our retro.
It'll be up next week.
Right, because we have to talk about it. So it's a collector's edition of 1982's The Entity with Barbara Hershey, who's magnificent in this. She's so good.
She's a very good actress. I enjoy her very much. And I mean, as I was looking at her filmography, she is totally all kinds of television, miniseries, movies. And like you just said, when we watched Beaches about a month ago, it was funny. Beaches is a movie I kind of grew up with, and my girlfriend and I loved it. And then I decided to read the book, and the book and the movie have like 3 similarities, but Beaches is beautiful, and Barbara Hershey is beautiful in Beaches, and in this, her acting, she's gorgeous. And we watched the interview that she gave for this movie.
It's a bonus feature.
It's in the bonus features. This is a collector's, and I wanted to watch it last night before we decided that we were going to watch the movie. And what I enjoyed was she gave some explanations on things, and you can hear more on that on the podcast. But the one thing that I really wanted to kind of point out right now is she said it felt more like doing a stage play rather than doing a movie, because they didn't do things out of order. Everything was from beginning to end. And the script, like beginning to end. And she said by doing it that way, it felt more like a stage play, and you could really feel that in the show, because
her performances, yeah. And that's what she was pointing, is that
she was able to escalate her feelings and kind of go with the flow, where, you know, sometimes you're shooting the end of the movie at the beginning of the shoot, and you really haven't like fully felt the character yet.
So yeah, the movie stars Barbara Hershey as well as Ron Silver, directed by Sidney J. Furie, who I don't know much about, but the premise is basically Hershey plays Carla Moran, who, and is sort of like based off a true story, but you can, you know, you'll figure it out whether or not how much of it is fake versus
and how much you want to believe.
But it's a woman who's terrorized by this poltergeist that not only is terrorizing her, like just in terms of moving shit around and shaking shit, but it's actually physically hurting her and raping her. And one of the things that we learned through that interview with Hershey was there is a specific scene where her boyfriend's there, telling her, trying to reassure her that nothing's going to happen, because he doesn't understand what's going on with her. She can't really convince anybody that this is really happening. So
a lot of people think it's
Ron Silver's a psychiatrist who thinks it's just in her head and past trauma, but she's trying to convey that it's actually something going on with like a ghost. And so the boyfriend starts walking into the bedroom because he wants her to try on a new negligee, and she's so happy to do it, but she's in the bed buck naked, and like this, you can just see there's like these little fingerprints,
like pushing down
on her, yeah, and it's holding her down and raping her. And of course, that's one of those scenes that sticks with you especially when you see as a kid like me. But I was always curious how they had done that scene, and apparently she had kind of been under the bed a little bit, and they had like this prosthetic body, and the guys underneath were basically using suction cups. So I thought that was fascinating with that and how they did it, because it looked so realistic and wonderful.
It does look very realistic.
All right.
Next on the list.
And we'll be doing this at some point as well.
I actually wanted to watch this last night, but he was like, I just watched it recently.
It is a collector's edition of Candyman. I'm trying to get that. There we go.
That looks good.
Yeah.
We haven't even opened it yet. We haven't even seen what the special edition or the extra bonus features are. However, I don't know how many times I've seen this movie, and I've fallen in love with it. And again, same girlfriend who watched Beaches with me also watched Candyman, because we were psychos when we were children. Oh, excuse me. And he, I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's scary, but it's also sad that you've got that conflicting emotions that really just,
Yeah, it has a lot of different things going on with it. One with all the the ghetto and the mystique of Candyman himself, and then the past trauma of Candyman, how he became what he was.
Mm-hmm.
And then even with Virginia Madsen's character, who she's going through her own sort of trials with her relationship currently with husband or not being uh, committed to her and having affairs and whatnot. So there's a lot going on relationship wise and everything, but in the midst of all this, you have this supernatural being that if you say his name 5 times in a mirror will appear and
Candyman, 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 Candyman. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
It's a fantastic movie, and there's been a couple sequels. Plus, we know of the newer one that came out that deals more with the mythology of it all. I didn't see that yet. I've heard good and bad things about it, but I don't really think anything's really going to top this particular movie because Tony Todd is amazing as an actor, and he's a horror icon. And this particular role, I wish when it came to like Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason, I wish they would have done more with Candyman in that kind of way. Because
you're thinking like I see what you're saying, like
not shitty sequels. I mean, you can never really avoid shitty sequels, but I just wish they would have utilized this character more.
I mean, good writers can come up with scenarios, right? Like he's not gone. He's an entity.
But dude, they took Jason and Pinhead everywhere.
Space.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous where they took him. So, but that's another thing that would be kind of cool because we often talk about, well, we had Freddy versus Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So what about Freddy versus Candyman?
I mean,
they both live in this like other surreal
it's
world.
like a border world.
Mm-hmm.
So is it? I like, what did we watch? I think it was a French film, and it was a similar thing where that when you said it was more of a horror comedy, and when you said the name in the mirror, and then they were like, nobody believed them, and they were like the ghost facers.
Oh, yeah.
What was it?
It was like Ghost Facers versus Bloody Mary.
Yes.
We did a review on that one.
Yes, I couldn't remember the name of it, but it was so like, but it's kind of like one of those things that when you're a kid, you hear all these urban legends and it's like, is it real? And then you do it just because you're dared, and then now the whole school's on fire.
Right. Okay, so now I'm gonna get back to the 70s a little bit.
Back to the 70s.
And this was another one I'm pretty sure my babysitter at the time took me, although I probably wouldn't be a lot younger then, as this came out in 74. But the drive-in was a big deal back then. So.
It's still, I mean, we haven't even gone this
Not
year.
in a while.
Well, we went just for Joe Bob. We just but like we have one right by our house, and I used to literally work right next door to it. I
do want to quickly say hello to Emmanuel. Thanks for stopping by, brother. I'm glad to have you here. Of course, Jake, and also Derek from Flick Snacks and Knickknacks. So we'll get to those guys' pages later because there's a lot we're going to say about that as well. Those guys are great with content and whatnot. So another one I got from Scream Factory is another collector's edition. And she hasn't seen it yet. I actually described it to her a while back, and she was very interested. It wasn't streaming anywhere at the time. It was on Shudder for a short while,
and we missed it.
And that is 1974's Phantom of the Paradise. Great film. It's a rock opera musical.
I'm always good with that.
Stars Paul Williams, William Finley, Jessica Harper, who's the star of Suspiria in 1977, my favorite movie. Director is Brian De Palma. Might surprise some people there with that.
Oh, wow.
But right now, I could not tell you much about it because it's been that long since I've seen it. It's been, probably since I was a kid.
I've never seen it, so.
But I do remember it kind of being corny a little bit. But
I like the corny.
You like the corny. So, I mean, but basically, it's still got like the Phantom of the Opera type premise, but it just changes it up a bit. And Jessica plays like the lead in that. Great actress there as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so to our Criterion collection, which
what do you mean Criterion?
That's another website.
Shit!
Yeah, a lot of blue Blu-ray DVDs and stuff like that. This one's very cool in many ways because I discovered something new that I did not even know.
Tell me about it.
So I believe it 1992. I have a lot of 1992 stuff in here.
92 was a good year.
Is a Lawrence Fishburne movie called Deep Cover, and this is a really great movie. Fishburne plays a cop who gets basically hired to do undercover for a sting operation for drug dealing. Also has Jeff Goldblum, who is fucking amazing, and we're going to talk a little about him later on Samurai's channel because we have The Thing versus The Fly.
Thing versus The Fly. I had not seen The Fly probably since, I don't know, I was 12, and watching it again.
Yeah, it was a very tough battle. Now, for this movie, we also have Clarence William III, who recently passed, so rest in peace. Rest in peace. Yeah. But I did not know that this was directed by Bill Duke.
Oh.
And that is the gentleman that you would see a lot in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. So like Predator, Commando. He's the black guy. It was along with Jesse Ventura.
That's right.
So he's the one that actually directed it. So I thought that was very cool. I did not know that. This movie is really awesome.
I don't think I've ever seen. Look, this is like what Necco hasn't seen.
Yeah,
that's what the title of this.
And the fact that some of these stuff I've had on VHS, but because we don't use VHS anymore, there's no way to watch it.
Our VHS player is a little bit too scary to chance putting it into, like, if you have a prized VHS. This is why, like, I haven't attempted the whole transfer for our home movies and stuff, because if I fuck it up and I ruin something from 1982, it's gone forever. So I am on the prowl looking on eBay and some other, websites that deal in electronics to make sure I find a good VHS player that is not going to eat my tapes. And we're going to probably go through all of our after I go through the home movies, we're going to go through the VHSs. And I'm thinking, like, I probably am not going to be leaving until January anyway. I think that we could probably get a good chunk of them and then maybe do like a VHS kind of little, like, our VHS pick of the week and just cut it and just go back through all of our old VHSs. And if I have to leave, I know you love projects. You would totally, this man, I gotta tell you a story about DJ Anubis. So when I travel, we don't get very good internet, and I have a hard drive that he bought for me, and he took all of our DVDs and digitized them so that I have movies and stuff to watch, and it's awesome. But I was thinking, like, you like to do projects like that. If I am traveling, that would be something you could sit and do and, like, digitize the VHSs and stuff like that is like his wheelhouse. He's totally into projects like that.
I love my technology.
I know. And that's what I was saying, like, to Joel the other day. There's different ones, and I feel like if we can just get it digitized, Joel says he has some software to help, suggestions to help clean it up if it looks kind of like.
And it should be noted, Necco had come up with a good idea, and you guys will be seeing it soon. We're actually having a website made for us.
Oh, that's right. That's right. This girl and I go way back. I'm talking like elementary school softball team way back. And she has been doing this for over 20 years. She is an excellent website developer. And I just kind of stopped and said, we've been fooling around for too long. Like, if we want to be able to provide, and granted, yeah, you understand we are not making money from this. This is just about providing good content. And, with the metal bands that we support and the labels we support, we just want it to be out there for everybody, easy to find. It's really hard to be like, okay, well, if you go on Facebook, it's Metal Tavern Radio. But if you want to listen to it on Podbean, so we're trying to condense everything.
Yeah, we want to make it easy to go to
like the www.metaltavernradio.com.
Yeah, one
and everything's
place there for our content, of course, for all our YouTube friends, and we're going to be putting links up to go check out your content and whatnot, because obviously, as we support you all, we want you to support you the best we can. Mm-hmm. So any traffic that we can drive there for you, we are much more happy to do that.
And it's literally like we just want to make it beautiful and clean and easy to save. So how do I find you? metaltavernradio.com.
Everything.
Keep it simple. Just because we're gonna actually probably meet with her and have, you know, lunch or dinner and have like a whole powwow, because I know what he wants kind of, but he's more of like, he has more of the vision, and I am not like internet. I tried to make us a website. It looked like a child made the website, but he was like, "Oh, it's really good." I'm like, "I'm not publishing this, so no."
All right, so continuing on. This one actually just came from Amazon, but when we were doing the Versus episode with the vampire movies, Near Dark, Lost Boys, and Fright Night, we talked a little bit about some of our favorite movies at the end, and I haven't had this on any kind of format, and I did bring it up on the show, which after we did that, we actually watched it because it was streaming at the time, and that is Captain Kronos, Vampire Hunter.
I was very confused by the movie, and I'm like, so they turn old? What?
Yeah, it was a different approach to the vampire lore. Stars Horst Jansen, John Carson, and Carolyn Monroe, the lovely Carolyn Monroe. Director is Brian Clemens, and Horst, obviously, his character is Kronos, who is, you know, out to hunt down vampires. But at first, he's kind of like, you know, I think it was a matter of just seeing if he can actually find some, because they were kind of just starting out looking. He's an ex-soldier. He comes across Monroe, who is being, I forget what you call this thing that they put him in to punish him for witchcraft, or in her case, it was dancing on Sunday, which was kind of funny. But
well, are you allowed to dance on Monday?
Right. But it's a great vampire movie. Totally old school. It's back in the 74, I think. What was the date? Yeah, 74. And just well done. Hammer film, which is always good for you if you enjoy Hammer films. So yeah, that's one to check out there with that as well. That was not a really expensive buy. None of these are very expensive buy. They have some great sales going on right now, so you can actually come out ahead if you got a few things you want to pick up. Now what we're going to do is, I wanted to get into a little bit, since it's still the Shocktober Halloween season.
Shocktober, baby.
There was like 4 films I thought that I would bring up that people should maybe check out if they haven't, and it's not that people probably haven't seen them, just you don't hear too many people talk about them. So we're going to dive into about 4 films that I think that I would recommend that people check out. And first one on my list, for those that
For those about to rock,
who enjoyed Mandy from Panos Cosmatos, there was a film he did in 2010 before that called Beyond the Black Rainbow.
All right, so
this is more about atmosphere rather than horror, but it is kind of horror because it's got some crazy visuals. Even at the end, it gets a little bit weird with
is this one
Michael
of the,
Rogers.
Is this one of the ones that I was like, I don't even want to watch this anymore?
Probably. The soundtrack is amazing. That's one thing that Panos does very well with his films, and the colors and schemes. And this is one of those ones. I just like this one a little more than Mandy.
I think Mandy was another one that I was just
no offense to Nicolas Cage, but this one held my attention far more than Mandy did. It's certainly worth it for the atmosphere and vibe that it'll bring. You can just shut the lights off, turn the stereo up, and just enjoy the shit out of it.
So give me like a rundown on that, because I don't really remember the movie, but I remember being like, I don't even want to watch this. This is not happening.
Yeah, so basically, held captive in a specialized medical facility, a young woman with unique abilities, which she has like telepathic abilities, seeks a chance to escape her observed capture. The captor, I believe, is played by Michael Rogers, and he's like the psychiatrist, but he's got his own issues now. The beginning, they talk about the Arboretum, which is something created by Rogers' parents, which I think is also the parents of the girl. I think it's really weird because this guy.
Yeah, and this is probably why I said I don't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah, so set in a strange and impressive emotional landscape of the year 1983, Beyond the Black Rainbow is is an Reagan-era fever dream inspired of hazy childhood memories. So it's just really crazy. The psychiatrist I told you about, he has this obsession with this girl that he's kept captive in this facility.
Okay.
And in order to block her, because her telepathic abilities are pretty strong, she can actually hurt you in many ways with this. So he uses these sound waves to keep her from using them on him. So eventually she finds a way to escape, and he's trying to chase her down. And of course, it just plays out the way it plays out. But
yeah,
again, a lot of great atmosphere in that. Well worth it. Next up, and I think you and I had watched this probably a few months ago.
I like Dr. Giggles.
Yeah, so Dr. Giggles.
What is that? What is that little sticker at the bottom? It says 18. Is this like the German version?
No, it's a multi version, but
look, it's all in German.
But
I mean, it plays on our DVD player, but it's in German.
Yeah, it's probably because it's very hard to find. That's one of the problems with some of these DVDs is that. And of course, for a long time, I had to make sure we had this old DVD player. I wasn't able to update it because it wasn't wireless.
Well, at first we thought that the DVD player was taking a shit. Sorry, a crap, and
shite.
A shite. So I purchased a new DVD player, and it's like tiny. I mean, it's about the size of one of those, or it's a Blu-ray DVD player. And it's wireless, and it automatically does the firmware updates and everything. So then he brings the other one downstairs, and he's like, well, if I can play DVDs, and if they play, I'll just keep it down here. Well, he realizes that because where we have our direct connection into the internet, it reaches the DVD player, so he unplugs it from his computer and plugs it into the DVD player, and like all these updates pop up because it was an older, like probably from 2007 Blu-ray player, and magically it all works. And now all these other older DVDs, what was it? I think it was when we were talking about The Thing. At first, his Blu-ray of The Thing that he ordered again a while ago, he returned because it wasn't playing, and he said, and the people were fine about it. He's like, it's just not playing in my DVD player. I don't know. And they refunded us. But he said, I bet you if I would have known that I had to update everything and update the firmware, it would have been fine.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, the one we have now is wireless, so I can just hook it up to a Wi-Fi and be fine.
I think it's constantly connected, so it will always like update it.
This one down here is, I don't have much issue with it. I just have a longer cord that I can use to update it. But
yeah, because upstairs is all Wi-Fi. Down here is where the
actual internet. But there are movies that are out there that I can't play still because they're not region free. So, for instance, when we watched The Devils by Russell, I had to actually rip it to a file and put it on a USB, and then we watch it that way. It came out fine.
Oh, that's right, because the DVD came in and it wouldn't play.
Right.
Crap, that's right.
The DVD player won't play the actual DVD, but I can rip it and then play it through a USB because I can transfer it over to a regular MP4 file.
That's right. That was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So another film, this one, I know this would be a movie that Necco probably wouldn't like, but for you Gallo fans, would get a kick out of it.
I think you and Jason watched a lot of that.
Yeah. 2013's The Strange Color of Your Body's Tears. Director, Helen Cadet and Bruno Forzani. Mm-hmm. And stars Klaus Tang. And Tang plays a guy who's searching for his missing wife in their apartment building. And ends up getting mixed up in this murder mystery thing, which turns out to be... The funny thing about this film is it has a lot of great visuals. I'm with the visuals here today.
Visuals.
And there's some cool kill scenes. And also, it is subtitled, but there's not a whole lot of dialogue. It's very slow dialogue-wise, so it's not like you're going to lose track of anything by reading and watching because they're so spaced out, and it's more just following what's going on in the story, like visually. So it's a very good film, especially a modern Gallo. Like, it's hard to really capture that spirit of the old 70s, 60s with that kind of stuff. So this was a real pleasure when I first discovered this film. I really liked it a lot. Very good. I'd highly recommend it if you haven't seen that and you like that style. Yeah. Yeah. And last but not least, 1978. And this is one I hope that I will be able to talk with Aaron a little bit if he's ever had a chance to see it or if he gets a chance to. It's a made-for-TV movie that came out, and it was for forever up until maybe 8 years ago. It was out of print, unable to find it on anything, VHS or whatever. And that is 1978's The Marina Deaths. And for those that enjoy kaiju films, to speak, this one has like a giant ass turtle in it. And
I remember you talking about this.
we watched this, but I think you fell asleep.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of late. But
yeah.
the other cool thing about this, it stars Leigh McCloskey and Connie Sellecca in this, but also one of the earlier roles for Carl Weathers, who would then go on to do Rocky and Predator, and all that stuff. So the whole premise is you've got this young boy and young girl when they meet when they're young on this beach, this island, and they find this little turtle, and they kind of carve their initials in it.
Yeah.
Like Young Love or whatever.
Yeah, I think that pissed me off, and that's why I fell asleep.
Why? Because they carved their names in it in the show?
That's not acceptable.
Of course it is. It's cool. The shell doesn't hurt.
Yes, it does. It regenerates. It's
a protective shield.
Mm-hmm.
Except for tiger sharks. All right. Anyway, over the years, the boy gets older. The girl disappears. She walked into the water and you never saw her again. Like you thought maybe she drowned or something. But it turns out
she is the turtle. Spoiler alert.
No, she's not the turtle. But she's like a siren, so she can come and go from the water, and then she re-meets up with the guy later on as they're older. And there's still this mysterious issue with the giant turtle that's like a behemoth in here, and it's a bit of a slow burn, but it's worth it. And it's a lot of fun. I still have fun watching it, especially for a TV movie, because back then you had a lot of good ones like The Car or Devil Dog or Curse of the Black Widow, which we watched again the other night. Those all came out in that time period, and it was like a lot of fun. So again, it's not straight up horror, but it does have a little bit of creepiness to it, the vibe and everything else.
You losing your voice there?
I guess.
Take a sip.
Yeah.
Take a sip. Take a little sip.
All right. Much better. So that is what we got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. We didn't keep you too long. When I get the other videos in, it probably won't be as big or as long a video, but we will go through them again. Just talk a little bit about them. Don't know how much content we'll have up, as I've discussed with her before. When it comes to our actual podcast, YouTube is very picky about the copyrights of songs and stuff, so it would be butchering the hell out of our show if we tried to.
And even though we actually receive a lot of our music straight from the labels, it would turn into a logistical nightmare for us to keep responding. I literally received this from the label. It is no big deal. And I think I can't remember who it was on YouTube. It was their band's stuff, but it was like their personal YouTube, and they're like, this has been blocked by YouTube due to copyright laws, and they're like, yeah, I'm the guitarist. So it was something on Facebook, one of our bands that we follow from one of our independent labels that we like, and it just cracked me up. And they had to literally, you have to type out like a whole explanation of this is why I'm doing this, and this is my music, and I am this, and
yeah, it's way too much like work to try to verify even who you are as an artist. So we have people that we know that do actual video podcasts with music, and they have to go through every band and get permission to use their videos. And then on top of that, if YouTube tries to nix it, they have to go and fight that and say the band had given me permission to do this.
And then
and it's just a whole nightmare.
And Facebook is worse because I guess because we're kind of benign, nobody's really caring. But if you have anything, I guess Facebook's algorithms
picks up on it.
Yeah, and because it's just two nerds sitting here in black shirts in front of Eric Draven, there's really for us not anything that's going to be picked up. But if you played something with audio or an image that kind of like hit their trigger, then Facebook, right now we're streaming on Facebook too, they would take it down. Funny thing though about YouTube in its early iterations, before all of these, I guess, AI type scans that they would do, it was literally people sitting in, and I read this entire, like, I don't want to call it a case study.
That's before it blew up.
Yeah.
Like 1 million people.
Well, it was a very interesting case study because they were explaining, like, before YouTube got super big, it was growing pretty still exponentially, but they still had to follow, like, guidelines, etc. And these people who their job was to sit and just go through all the videos that like, you get a queue of videos and you watch them. And some of the stuff that they said that they would have to watch, because it's actual people watching it at this point. This is, early 2000s. And then they'd report it. And these would be things like child pornography and abuse that people had uploaded. And the reason that now they have these algorithms is to literally feed that out so that you don't have to have 500 people watching movies or watching streams and all at the same time. But they are a pain in the ass. But the stories from these people in the early days of YouTube, they're like, I just, some of the stuff you can't unsee. And that's when they started developing the algorithms to kind of make it easier and to be able to identify issues like that.
Playing it safe. And so, like, even if it's not something's out of line, they're going to nix it anyway just to be on the safe side. And then they'll go back and do the thing.
Then you have to, like, review and blah.
Anyway, quick shout outs, because like I said, once we get our website up, it's going to be easy, just everyone go to one place.
And then you can figure out.
But we're going to have a lot of people that we're going to be up there. So you have E-Rock, 331 E-Rock, great guitarist. He puts up a lot of
phenomenal
great
guitarist.
That Fat Samurai guy. Necco and I will be there later tonight to do the verses with the Thing and the Fly. And we will most likely be joined by Derek from Flick Snacks and Knickknacks. Very cool dude. A lot of great content.
Love that name. He is
creative.
I love it. Love it.
He actually has a very cool video that just put up pretty recently about the Halloween movies that he ranked with Brandon. So check that out.
Yes, they were like having so much fun. They were just like, because I'm sorry, Derek, I didn't watch it on my YouTube. We were just kind of watching it on his, but like it was very.
Did you like it?
I liked it. It was very cute.
No, did you like it? Did you punch the
no. Okay, I'll like it. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at all of this.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
I'm really bad at all of this.
Mr. Tony the Dead. Tony, you the man. Also, what we got here? Sci-Fi Century, Master Chaos, Aaron, Cult of Cinema. Dude, I love you so much. Your knowledge is unbeatable.
Is that your bromance?
It's my bromance. What we got here? Also, Eric, Asian movie enthusiast. So cool guy. Very cool guy.
We haven't seen him in a while. He's super busy.
Yeah, he's busy. What we got? Media Glitch. Joel, can't forget you, brother. We'll see you later too as well. And I think I cut that cover. There's a few that I don't really know that well, but we will certainly put their links up.
If you want us to give you a shout out or anything, just find eventually when we have the website done, which will be a couple of weeks hopefully. But for now, YouTube or Facebook, Metal Tavern Radio Podcast. We're on Podbean. We check all of our stuff. It's just if you want to.
And you can't put in requests, believe it or not. All you gotta do is hit me up on Facebook or even on YouTube or anything. If you have a specific song you want to hear in the podcast, or of like a local metal band or rock band that you like.
Yes, if you have
somebody give them promotion, shoot it to us and we'll figure it out and get it worked in. Thanks, guys. This is our first video, so hopefully it goes well for you all.
First video with you, right?
Well, outside of verses and everything else. But thanks for all you guys that stopped in. Appreciate the support, obviously. I'll be talking to you all later tonight. So have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening and take care of yourselves.